Hail, intrepid viewers, and welcome back. Today, we are playing Wayhaven Chronicles, Book 1. This is a novel. I don't even think it's a visual novel, it's just a novel. I'm taking a break from Outer Wilds. I just feel like reading, so that's what I'm going to do. I have no idea how long this is. I know it's Book 1. I know there are sequels already out on Steam. We will see if this warrants further reading, but I'm looking forward to this, so hopefully it's good. Let's get into it. Moonlight slices through the beakers on top of the laboratory counter, 100 shafts of light bouncing off the pristine, polished surface. Precise lines of glass tubes held in stark white cartons are piled on the center island. Dr. Ethan Murphy enjoys the small space of his lab, one he has worked hard on making his own. He is grateful for the comforting quiet it brings, and is at the moment even more thankful for the size of the large counters. They fully hide his crouched, shuddering body as he hunches behind them, biting his lip to stop his shuddering breath, giving away his position. Tut tut, Dr. Murphy, nobody likes a coward. The taunt is followed with a smash of glass, shards of the broken beakers glancing across the linoleum floor. Dr. Murphy squeezes his eyes shut and grips his knees closer to his chest, his teeth biting down into his bottom lip hard enough to draw blood. The squeak of the intruder's shoes on linoleum stops. The air falls silent and heavy, pressing down like a weight on Murphy's tight shoulders. If you don't want me to find you, Dr. Murphy, you shouldn't make yourself so tempting. The voice echoes from nowhere, a hungered growl from the darkness. Murphy's eyes snap open as a warm drop of blood dribbles from his lip and soaks onto his trousers. He wipes the blood from his lips and chokes back a sob. But it's too late. A hand lurches from the dark and snatches at Murphy, like claws around prey. Such an irresistible thing, don't you think? The man whispers, his face shadowed but the glint in his eyes unmistakable. When his tongue laps over the smear of blood on Murphy's hand, the doctor retches and tries to crawl back, yelling as the hand grips his tighter. The crack of bone perforates the silence. Dear, dear. He tugs on Murphy's mangled hand, dragged him over the slick surface of the linoleum. I don't want to break you, Doctor. Murphy is yanked up onto his feet. The intruder is the same height as he is, but appears 10 feet tall in the gloom. Shh. He places a firm finger on the doctor's lips to stop the trembling cries. Then he takes Murphy's hand in both of his, staring into the eyes with the intense, paralyzing gaze only a predator can achieve. Why don't you relax? The word reverberates into a haunting echo inside Murphy's head, bouncing from one side of his skull to the other until he sways with a dizziness. A swath of calm seeps from his head, down into his neck, following his spine and reaching right down to his toes until he stumbles back from the suddenness of his muscles relaxing. Murphy smiles at the intruder and takes a deep breath. Much better, the intruder whispers before plunging his teeth into Murphy's throat. Meanwhile, the next morning in Wayhaven. The crime scene is a wriggling mass of spectators by the time I arrive, even this early in the morning. People line the small alleyway packed so tightly I can't believe they're able to breathe, let alone fight for space to see the end of the street. Revving the engine of my battered, silver hatchback does little to gain anyone's attention, and I realize I can't park unless they move. Not wanting to be late to my very first case as Wayhaven's newly appointed detective, I beep my horn, park where I am, lean out the window and order them to move, lean out the window and ask them to move. Why can't I park where I am? People in the small alleyway. They're packed into an alleyway. I don't want to park in the alleyway. I can't park. Oh, am I trapped in the alleyway? I don't really understand the situation, but I'll make an important decision. Anyway, let's be polite. Is that what I want? Yeah, why not? I already sense a problem, though, where, I gave that bad vampire guy a British accent, and we don't know his name, so we're gonna encounter this character and not know it, and I'm gonna do a completely different voice for them, although, even if I hadn't done that, the odds of me remembering any voice are low, as history has shown. Anyway, I roll down the window of my car and balance an elbow against the door so I can lean out as far as possible. Hey guys, can you move yourselves, please? Is that a good voice? No, it's not. But I guess we'll stick with it. I'm the detective here. Hey guys, I'm Clint Eastwood. No, am I? I'm Columbo. What's a good detective voice? I'm Bigby Wolf. No, that's not even a good impression. Let's just talk through our teeth like this. Hey guys. No, the main character has to be not obnoxious. And they can't be too funny for the main character. That's a rule. It can't be like a whacking. Hey guys. I mean, let's just stick with the main character being the narrator. Main character is narrator, it's first person. So it's me. Hey guys, can you move yourselves please? I'm the detective here for this crime scene. My words don't inspire the quick notion that I'd hoped, but the buzzing crowd does reluctantly part. I drive further down the alleyway. Success. Managing to park, I crank on the handbrake, trying to ignore the pained crunching sound the car makes. Out of habit, I glance into the rearview mirror, quickly checking my appearance. I brush a hand over my... Ooh, important question. I'm gonna go dark brown, because I'm still picturing this guy like Bigby Wolf. Even if it doesn't sound like it. Which means he's not Clint Eastwood, who's, because I'm dirty blonde. I brush a hand over my dark brown hair. Figuring there is little else I can do to procrastinate, I finally force myself out of the car. The chill air bites at my skin as soon as I step out of the warm comfort of the car. I shove my hands into the pockets of my coat, shivering at the relief it provides from the sharp cold. Buds may be clinging to the few stark trees lining the alleyway, but it is far from spring yet. It looks as though most of Wayhaven has gathered at the scene, which is more likely true than not, considering the whole town consists of less than 1,000 people. As I step up to the blue and white striped barrier, I am greeted by Officer Len, a part-time volunteer on the scant Wayhaven police force. I wonder for a moment if his hunched posture is from the grisly nature of the crime or just his advanced age. He looks up from his pad, and I can almost hear the creaking in his bones at the motion. I wait as he speaks to greet me, his voice croaking out from his thin lips, partly hidden by a scraggly gray beard that matches the color of his skin. Finally, he says... I'm gonna stay with a dude. I'm just gonna do... maybe we'll make him gender neutral. He will not... I'm gonna roleplay this as a guy, but I'm gonna make it so Officer Len doesn't, needlessly bring up gender. Credentials, please. I let out a long sigh. Are we really gonna do this, Len? You started working as a volunteer long after I joined the force. Sorry, but it's Mayor's orders, he replies. I'm hesitant to open my coat after just managing to get warm, but I pull one side open to yank out my badge and ID. I hand it over, Len not even glancing at it before handing it back. His eyesight may be bad, but even he cannot fail to recognize me. All good, detective. Step on through. I take back my ID and dip under the barrier. Len is struggling to keep raised. As I move away from him, I glance down at my new ID. Detective. It's the first time I've been addressed that way by one of my colleagues. It's strange to hear my new title. It belonged to old Detective Real for so long that I'm not sure if it fits me quite yet. After all, the only training I've had was the rushed speech I received from the mayor, addressing my many merits and how to show my willingness to take over. The total of my detective experiences probably amounts to that hour he spent lecturing me. The promotion was rushed through in time for Real's retirement party, leaving me spinning on how to react to the whole thing. Was I being groomed, though? It's interesting. Options. I didn't even want the promotion. Oh, I see. You can choose. Captain forced on me. I was so excited for the promotion. I thought though I wasn't expecting it. What was I before being promoted? Just like a regular deputy or something? I wasn't surprised with the promotion. I've worked hard to get it. I didn't really want it, but wasn't gonna turn it down. Let's go with the second one. I was excited, but I wasn't expecting it. The promotion may have come as a surprise, but it was certainly a happy one. The quickness of this whole situation led to whispers about the promotion only being given because the captain needed someone in the station of a senior position so he could go off and play golf with the mayor whenever he wants. But I'm still proud. I smile at the memory. My photo stares back at me from the ID pouch. I glance over my details, my name listed boldly at the top. Please enter a first name. What a lovely first name. Alex, Ainsley, Val, Jules, or Sam. These are great names. I like all of these options. Except for Alex. I'm joking, Alex is fine. My top two are Val or Sam. Just because Samuel Vimes was the best cop in Terry Pratchett land, and Val just because I'm your Huckleberry. What's my mouse gonna be closer to? My mouse is closer to Sam. Oh, right on, Sam. Cool, we're going with Sam. Right on, Sam. Surname Langford, Kingston, Batra, Lynn, Green. We could be difficult and choose none of these. None of these jumps out to me in the same way as the first names did. Batra's kind of a cool name. Samlin is kind of cool, the way it runs together. Kingston. Very high classy. I don't want to. Let's see what none of these says. What do we got? More. Oh, I can input a name. Oh, great. I don't want to have to. That's even a harder choice. Freeform text. Good grief. Can I go back? I can't. Okay. Okay, so our first name is Sam. Let's just go Vimes, unoriginal. Let's stick with it. Yes. Okay, what voice is this? I don't know. Probably the bad guy's voice. Finally here then, Detective Vimes. I glance up at the sound of a familiar voice, a smile already on my face. Officer Tina Poname strides towards me, my old partner grinning at me as she nears. Not much of a surprise they're all gathered here, she says, gesturing at the crowd behind us. I look over my shoulder at the bustle of people, sunlight glinting off the phones, held ready to take whatever pictures they can. Is this me? This is probably the biggest thing that's happened for years, I reply with a shrug. She nods in response, brushing back a few brown curls that bob in front of her hazel eyes. I can't help but notice none of the fancy-dancy silver spoons have bothered to show up. Her nose wrinkles as she speaks, the freckles splattered over her rosy cheeks becoming more pronounced with the expression. Don't suppose they care about what happens to us normal folk as long as no one touches their mansions. But anyway, how's the first day of your promotion going? Let's see if we can depend on how gruesome the murder is. I was hoping it'd be quieter. I wish my career didn't start with a death. I'm pleased to be able to put mine to something. Let's go with option 3. I kind of wish my career didn't start with a death, I admit, shoving my hands deeper into my pockets. She purses her lips and sighs. Yeah, that's not that you should take it as an omen or anything. With a strained laugh, she dares a glance down the street at this crime scene, although it's half hidden by white-clad crime scene technicians. The techs all busy themselves, placing down yellow tags and measuring out every inch of space. There's the occasional bright flash as they take photos. Excuse me. A voice stops us before we move. I need to know what's going on. I demand to know. Tina's grip on her belt tightens as I let out a drawn breath. I'm the landlord of these apartments. The man, an older gentleman, in a crisp gray suit, sweeps an arm upwards at the soaring, crumbling building above us. Not exactly something to be proud of, sir. Your participant on a policeman, please stay back. Demands will get you nowhere. I'm sorry, sir, but we can't give out details at this time. Ignore him. He didn't really demand. Oh, he did demand. He did demand. Ha ha ha. I'll go with option 4. It's the most poetic. I'm sorry, sir, I reply, my tone as light and polite as I can make it, but we can't give out details at this time. Tina places a hand on my shoulder. You go on ahead. I'll deal with him. It's not your job to settle this lot any more, detective. I throw her a grateful nod as she moves towards the landlord with a stern frown. Her tall, statuesque figure is hidden behind the stiff, unshapely dark blue uniform. Her pretty features contrast against the heavy belt and boots she wears. If I'd known her before becoming such good friends as partners, no, I wouldn't have made a move. We choose our sexuality. Can I be, asexuality is not an option. I guess we're going to be forced into romancing somebody somehow. That sounds kind of rapey. I didn't mean it that way. This sounds really funny, like just a sentence. It's like, if I'd known her before becoming such good friends, I might have made a move. I'm only attracted to women. In this case, all women, apparently. I'm living with both girls. Go bisexual. I shake away the thought, turning to head towards the crime scene. It's not far before I stumble to a stop, holding up my hands to keep... balance as a technician walks in front of my path. The woman clicks her tongue at me before continuing to bend down and retrieve a piece of trash, carefully storing it in a clear plastic bag and sealing the top. I move forwards once more, my path like a dance, as I make my way through a maze of yellow tags and disgruntled technicians. I avoid coming up against the wall, which is slick with something I don't even want to think about. Thankfully, I make it past the busiest part to find Dr. Turner crouched over the body. He looks up at me and frowns. Sorry, this has been your first case, Sam. Yeah, it's pretty amazing to think I delivered you as a baby, and now here you are as a beer. His pride in me is dulled somewhat due to our meeting over a dead body. It's a weird greeting anyway. The gloomy light of the morning makes the grey peppering his short black hair seem lighter, and his deep brown skin a little more aged than usual. A quiet punctuates the air between us. Dr. Turner returns to looking over the still figure at his feet. I will look closer. I look closer at the body, though I can't get a clear view of the victim, as they're on their front. Hold on, I'll turn it over for you. These city boys are done, Turner says. I note the glare he throws towards the crime scene techs. Wayhaven is too small and quiet a place for those types of people, so when a major crime happens, they are sent down to aid from the big city. It's the first time this has happened in my lifetime, and the city techs and small town people obviously aren't mixing well. Turner places his hands beneath the body before rolling it over. I wince a little at the dull thud that sounds as it topples over completely, a reaction noted by the keen, if aging, doctor. He and I both lean to look closer. It's a woman. She has lengths of blonde hair matted together and deep bruises marring her cold, freckled skin. Her eyes are, thankfully, closed, though it doesn't make her look peaceful. My gaze scans the woman, but I don't have to look far to find something unusual. Deep, ragged gashes run the length of her forearms. The skin around the torn wounds is stained deep crimson and purple. Continue looking, without issue. I continue looking over the wounds, without issue, hoping they might reveal something. You are braver than I was when I saw my first body, Dr. Turner says with half a smile. I just can't believe there's been a murder. This is me, oh. I just can't believe there's been a murder, here, in Wayhaven. My words come out in a confused mumble. I know what you mean. The last time there was a violence in this town was back in my grandfather's day, he says, shaking his head. His thin-framed glasses wriggle down his nose. He pushes them back up and shrugs. Can you give me the time of death? I ask. That's not my call to make, he replies, bristling slightly with his words. That's your man's job back at the lab. He doesn't bother to hold back the disdain in his voice, obviously not pleased at having to give responsibility to another city boy. I'm only here to make sure the body is really dead. Pretty about a body. Hopefully it won't take long to find out more about it. The quicker we clears up the better. At least we can move her out of sight of that crowd. Hopefully it won't take long to find out more about it. Yeah, he says, giving a tense smile. An unsolved murder isn't the kind of thing you want to hanging about you at the start of your career. I throw him a stare, and he chuckles slightly. Sorry. He turns to face the techs behind him, their mask-covered faces giving them an eerie look. You can take the body away now. He then strides away down the street to where his black sports car is parked. Good luck with it all, Sam, he calls back with a slight wave of his hand. I'm suspicious of you, duck. Find out anything useful from the doc? Tina asks as she moves back to my side. I realize she and the doc talk a little similarly. Very, very fast and English, which is not really my intent. I was considering going more of a Christopher Lloyd Back to the Future kind of doc, but I failed utterly. Anyway, find out anything from the doc, Tina asks as she moves back to my side. We both watch for a moment as the techs move forward to throw a white cloth over the victim. We'll know more when Verda takes a look at her, I reply. Are you okay getting statements from the witnesses? Sure, she replies. I've already started on it. I give a nod of appreciation. Take Douglas from the station if you need help. I'd have better luck getting help from a parrot than from that boy, she scoffs. She moves away, her pad flipped over in preparation. With the crowds, the technicians, and the sheer amount of rubbish still littering the alleyway, I'm not sure how much more I can get from the crime scene. I begin to head out of the street and back towards my car. Another voice. I don't know, who's this guy?
Hey, what's vibes? I'm a detective.
My shoulders instantly hunch at the voice, and I roll my head from side to side to release the sudden tension before turning to face the source of the call. Bobby Marks, I say. Why am I not surprised to find you here? Bobby, being the only journalist in this small town, leaps on any kind of gossip he can, whether it's true or not. This is probably the closest to real news he's ever had. Bobby also happens to have a reputation as a giant pain in the ass. Still, as far as my relationship goes with him, I'd fuck him. He's an ex-friend. He also happens to be my ex. Oh, man. I'm gonna have no relationship, a bad relationship, or a bad relationship. Let's choose that. Well, we already had this tension in our neck, so that implies a past relationship for sure. Let's go with X. We chose bisexuality for a reason. Everyone in this town is my ex. Let's go with that rule, that axiom. He also happens to be my ex. I thank myself daily for getting out when I did. The man would do anything he can to get ahead, including stealing all of my essays in college and using them. Sorry. I know you guys hate it when I yawn, because it's contagious this way, but, well, I'm only human. As his own, well, we were dating! As if the bribes to find out extra information from some of our volunteers aren't enough, Bobby also likes to wiggle his way into people's personal lives and report it to everyone in town. But the past is the past, and I have no issue with him now. It's hard to be around him, but I won't let him see that. The grudge I hold for him will never leave. I won't give him the pleasure of even thinking about him anymore. This one seems the most fun, but I kind of like the character of being like a permanent grudge holder. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to click next on the next episode. So I have no idea how long this is going to take. Maybe it's going to be like 2 more pages and we'll have to go to switch over to book 2. Probably not. But that was part 1 of Wayhaven Chronicles book 1. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Signature catchphrase.